New York, a Brooklyn preacher known for his flashy lifestyle, and who boasted about his friendship with Mayor Eric Adams, has been convicted on multiple charges. A jury found Bishop Lamar Whitehead guilty Monday of wire fraud, attempted extortion and lying to the FBI. The 47-year-old was accused of looting a parishioner's retirement savings and trying to extort a businessman to fuel his lavish lifestyle. His lawyer said they plan to appeal the verdict. Meanwhile, his sentencing has been set for July. What we know about the bishop. Miller Whitehead made headlines in 2022 when he was robbed at gunpoint while delivering a sermon at the Leaders of Tomorrow International Churches in Canarsie, Brooklyn. The suspects made off with $1 million worth of jewelry from the bishop and his wife. Police later arrested Joanne Anderson and Saquon Pollock on robbery, conspiracy and weapons charges in the case. It's a win today, because the narrative that was posted and presented that I had something to do with this robbery, and it has destroyed my life, Miller Whitehead said after their arrest. The bishop was back in the news that December, as the indictment against him was announced. According to court documents, Miller Whitehead allegedly convinced a parishioner to invest $90,000 of her retirement savings with him, but spent it all on himself. Miller Whitehead, a bishop at the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries Church in Canarsie, made headlines in July 2022 when armed assailants robbed him and his wife of $1 million worth of jewelry during a live-stream service, police said. Attorney Damian Williams called him a con man who stole millions of dollars in a string of financial frauds and even stole from one of his own parishioners. He lied to federal agents, and again to the court at his trial, Williams said in the statement. Today's sentence puts an end to Whitehead's various schemes and reflects this office's commitment to bring accountability to those who abuse their positions of trust.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for the past 4 years.
Rashid Anderson relieved tonight following the conviction of Lamar Whitehead, better known as the Blink Bishop, for his lavish lifestyle. A Manhattan federal jury finding Whitehead guilty of defrauding a parishioner and trying to extort a businessman.
It's been a long time coming, and we're very happy to see that the verdict was guilty.
Rashid's mother, Pauline Anderson, invested $90,000 of her retirement savings with Whitehead. Prosecutors said he spent the money on luxury goods at Louis Vuitton and Foot Locker, and even used Anderson's money to make his car payments. Rashid testified during the trial. You and your mother trusted this guy.
Yeah, we trusted him a lot.
Whitehead, no stranger to headlines. In July of 2022, he was robbed at gunpoint while delivering a sermon in Brooklyn. The $1 million jewelry heist caught on his church's live stream. 2 months ago, one of the men accused of the robbery killed by U.S. Marshals at a New Jersey hotel. Whitehead not yet publicly commenting on his conviction, which also includes charges that he tried to force a Bronx businessman to lend him $500,000 while promising access to Mayor Adams. Whitehead claimed he knows the mayor on a personal level. The bishop going to social media after his arrest in December 2022.
Just because you was arrested doesn't make you guilty.
Jurors found Whitehead guilty of wire fraud, lying to the FBI, and attempted extortion. The trial lasting 2 weeks. Rashid had prayed for today's outcome.
I do want to give thanks to God because he was the one that, revealed the truth, and I was able to go up there. Everyone was able to go up there and speak their truth.
Whitehead's sentencing is scheduled for July 1st. He faces up to 45 years in prison. Chris Jose, News 4 New York.
Miller Whitehead was also sentenced to 3 years of supervised release and ordered to pay $85,000 in restitution and forfeit $95,000, prosecutors said. Attorney Don Florio said in a statement Monday that Miller Whitehead is innocent and vowed his legal fight is not over. As today's sentencing was not what we had hoped for, we are deeply saddened by the outcome. Despite this setback, we remain steadfast in our belief in Bishop Lamar Whitehead's innocence and are committed to continuing the fight, Florio said. We will explore all available legal avenues to ensure that justice is served, she said. Our dedication to proving Bishop Whitehead's innocence is unwavering, and we will immediately begin the appeal process. During the 2022 robbery incident, armed assailants displayed firearms and demanded property from Miller Whitehead. Miller Whitehead embraced his flashy lifestyle. He was known for driving around in a Rolls-Royce, and records show he lived in a $1.6 million home in Paramus, New Jersey. He also owned apartment buildings in Hartford, Connecticut. A number listed on the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries Facebook page was not in service Monday afternoon. Miller Whitehead persuaded one of his parishioners to invest about $90,000 from her retirement savings with him by promising he would help buy her a home. He spent the money on luxury goods and personal expenses and did not pay her back when she asked. He also extorted a businessman out of $5,000. and tried to persuade the same man to lend him $500,000 in stakes in real estate transactions in return for favorable actions from the mayor of New York City. Miller Whitehead could not deliver on his promises. He also submitted a fraudulent application for a $250,000 business loan that included doctored bank statements that claimed he had millions of dollars in the bank and earned hundreds of thousands of dollars in monthly revenue. He submitted similar fraudulent applications to various other financial institutions, stealing millions of dollars in the process, prosecutors said.
According to NBC News, Bishop Lamar Miller Whitehead, 46, was convicted in March of wire fraud, attempted extortion and making false statements to federal law enforcement agents, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York said in a statement. According to NPR, Lamar Whitehead, a flamboyant pastor who made headlines in 2022 when he was robbed during a live-streamed church service in Brooklyn, and then became the target of criminal charges himself, has been sentenced to 9 years in federal prison.
U.S. District Judge Lorna G. Schofield imposed the punishment on Monday, after Whitehead was found guilty of numerous fraud and attempted extortion charges, along with lying to the FBI. Prosecutors portrayed the 45-year-old church leader as a grifter, siphoning money from his followers, and demanding money for what he claimed was influence over New York Mayor Eric Adams. Lamar Whitehead is a con man who stole millions of dollars in a string of financial frauds and even stole from one of his own parishioners, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said. The pastor's attorney, Don Florio, said in a statement to NPR that while we are deeply saddened by the outcome, Whitehead maintains his innocence. We will explore all available legal avenues to ensure that justice is served, Florio said, adding, we will immediately begin the appeal process. Whitehead was found guilty of bilking a single mom. A jury found Whitehead guilty in March of all 5 criminal counts against him. During the 2-week trial, prosecutors described how in one money-making scheme, Whitehead extracted $90,000 from a nurse, a single mom in her 50s who attended his church, with the promise that the money would serve as both an investment and to provide her with a home. But the pastor spent the money on himself, according to court records. I lost everything I had worked for, the church member, Pauline Anderson, said in a victim impact statement. She has had to pay more than $40,000 in legal bills as she fought Whitehead in civil court, Anderson said. Taxes and fees have also racked up, as she took early withdrawals from her retirement fund. The anguish associated with having to repay taxes on funds the accused personally spent while I was left with nothing is indescribable, Anderson said. In contrast, Whitehead was living in a 6-bedroom house in Paramus, NJ. At a recent foreclosure sale, the property attracted a top bid of more than $1.9 million. According to court filings, the pastor's assets also included a 2-building apartment complex in Hartford, Connecticut. Whitehead had been scheduled to be sentenced in early July, but on May 20th, the judge revoked his bail and moved the hearing to this week, after a letter to the court said the pastor was appearing on social media, making false accusations against the prosecutors, the Anderson family, and the FBI, claiming that his conviction was a setup, according to court documents. Pastor became known for jewelry and upscale lifestyle. Whitehead became the subject of intense scrutiny in 2022, when he was involved in 3 high-profile incidents. In May of that year, the pastor mediated a man's surrender in the NYC subway shooting of Goldman Sachs employee Daniel Enriquez. Whitehead turned heads with his ostentatious appearance, wearing a Fendi jacket and stepping out of a Rolls-Royce at a legal aid office, and with his claims of friendship with New York Mayor Eric Adams. 2 months later, 3 gunmen entered Whitehead's Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries church in the Canarsie neighborhood of Brooklyn and removed more than $1 million worth of jewelry from him and his wife, the New York Police Department told NPR. The robbery took place as Whitehead was live streaming a service, and he posted videos online describing what happened. But in late 2022, prosecutors filed federal charges against Whitehead, accusing him of fraud and saying he attempted to extort a Bronx business owner into giving him large amounts of money in exchange for the pastor using his alleged influence in City Hall, under Mayor Adams. And when FBI agents spoke to Whitehead, the indictment said, he lied when he claimed to have only one cell phone. His church's website described Whitehead as being active in business as well as in the ministry, owning mortgage and real estate companies. But prosecutors say Whitehead illegally sought to leverage his real estate holdings, filing fraudulent loan applications with 5 banks seeking millions of dollars. He then failed to make payments on the loans he tricked banks into issuing, they said. In addition to the prison term, Whitehead was ordered to pay $85,000 in restitution and forfeit $95,000.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you for watching.